How are you, Mike?
I'm so good, man. Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy to be here in Buenos Aires. Beautiful.
It's a pleasure having you for the first time here in Argentina. We were waiting for you. I love personally your music, and I'm happy, very happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, South America has been a big part of my growth, I think, and from really when I first started getting more international recognition down here in South America was a huge place for me where I always people always commenting, come to Argentina, come to Chile, come to Brazil. And even when I look at, my Spotify analytics, where people are listening in the world, it's always a lot in South America. So a few years ago, I started working on trying to come down here. In 2018 was the first time I came to South America, but only to Brazil. And it's been a pretty crazy ride, I think, for a lot of people, for musicians, those of us who rely on traveling, who rely on the gathering of people together tightly in tight quarters all together.
It's very complicated. I think in the United States it was more open. All here we were in our homes like 4 months, more or less, not getting out, only to buy stuff for eating.
It was it depends on where you live in the U.S. Some places, Hawaii was one of the worst places, I think, where people were like, we weren't allowed to go hiking in the woods, we weren't allowed to go to the beach, and it was crazy. It's like, probably the safest place to be outdoors in the sun, with nobody near you. And there weren't any tourists coming. So it was an interesting time in Hawaii because everything relies on tourism,
But now we have you here. We are glad that COVID is over, more or less, but it's over. And you can travel a lot. You are going to Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Paraguay. It's a long way.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's the longest tour I've ever done. It's a six weeks tour. So definitely the longest time I've ever been away from my family. But I feel like it's a good chance. It's a good opportunity to really put some roots down here and help it to grow, because I want to keep coming back here every year, keep coming back again and again every year, and just build it and let it grow. So, and I know it's going to be good in Argentina. I can already feel it, and I know it's going to be a great show tonight.
Tell us about your show, because you have different formats. Now, today you are playing the solo version. What's the difference? How you feel it different from with a backing band?
Well, really, I've gotten to the point now where I really do one of two things. I do either my solo thing, or I do it with the full band, with the full circle. The band is really my favorite. It's incredible. It's a really incredible band. It's evolved over the years. Now playing in the band, the most recent incarnation, the drum and bass is Paul Spina and Ryan Newman, the original drum and bass from Groundation. So amazing musicians. So it's a really amazing rhythm section. And then, those guys are really such a huge influence on me and my music. So to have them playing in my band now and to be making music with them, it's really an incredible honor and a dream for me. So I look forward to being able to bring that full band here to Argentina as well. And I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to share that, because it's a really incredible band. Beautiful keyboard player and horn section. Just amazing band. I love doing it. But, the other incarnation is, I think, really what people know me best for, which is doing my solo looping kind of thing. And it's just me, which is what I like about it, because, it keeps me honest with myself. Like, how good of a musician am I? How good of a performer? How good of a connection do I have with the audience, with the spirit, you know? And to be able to do it solo is like, it's interesting because you don't have any other musicians to rely on. So if you're not at your best, you really have to dig down a little deeper. Or if you're not connecting, you really have to go further within yourself to be able to connect. You have to bring the energy higher. And really, I don't have any musicians to rely on, so I have to rely on the audience only. So if it really forces me to be more connected.
And I think I'm asking you, you get more tired alone or with the band? What is the difference to your, I don't know, to your body? You are sitting down here in the solo version, but in the other you are going around. How do you finish a solo show and a band show?
Well, I think with the solo show, maybe it's different. You know, I don't think I get tired from either because, you know, it's like a healing frequency that comes through, you know, so the energy that I'm using to play the music, to make the music, to put all that energy out, it's coming from the universe. It's coming from God. So when you tap into that, it's like you're not using any of your own energy, your own life force. And then, you know, there's a lot of energy from people there doing the same thing. So yeah, right. It's like, you know, if you're like somebody who does massage or Reiki or something like that, you have to learn to use that energy of the universe for healing, because if you don't, you know, by the time you massage one person, you're going to be exhausted, you know, and then sometimes you have to do it for 6 or 8 hours or something, you know, people and multiple people, right? So you have to learn to not use your own energy, but to use the energy of the universe, which is everlasting, abundant, you know, there's no end to it. So in performing, you know, that's what I tap into. So I definitely don't get tired from that. If anything, I get energized from it and I get done with a show. And that's why I always go out and talk to people afterwards and hang with people, because I'm never tired. I'm never like, I can't deal with it. I can't go out and talk to people. I'm always excited to go out and talk to people, because that way it gets me a little more grounded, you know, and I'm like up here from all the energy of the show, and then I go down and talk to people and make a connection, a personal connection, one-on-one with each person that I talk to. So that's really nice. But I mean, that being said, I do get really tired from the touring aspect of it. And in South America, it's like the worst because it's
South America is complicated.
Yeah, there's not as much, things are a little more spread out, and there's not as much infrastructure with like roads. So a lot of times it's flying in between every show, which can be really exhausting because, you know, if we tour in the United States, for example, when we get done with the show, we pack up everything in the bus or the van or whatever we're touring in. All the gear goes in there, we go sleep, and then you drive. And then you just go, you know, everything just stays in the car and you drive. But when you tour and you have to fly every time, you have to go, you don't have a car. So every time you go to the club, you're you know, getting it in a van or an Uber or something, bringing all the gear to the club. And then when you get done at the club, you got to get back in and bring all the gear, then take it out to the hotel. And then in the morning, you wake up really early and you get all the gear back into the van, and then the gear into the airport, and then you fly, and then you get the gear again back into the van. So it's always like moving the gear all around, and not a lot of sleep.
And excuse me, and in the solo version, you travel with a lot of gear.
I think it's a lot of gear for one person. I just have two big cases and my guitar, and then, you know, we have a suitcase, and but it's two big cases that are, you know, 32 kilos, So big heavy case, big heavy cases, and it's cool. I mean, here I have a crew that travels with me and helps us, sound man and a tour manager. So, it helps to have people along with you, especially when you don't speak the language. It helps to have people that can help you translate. But yeah, it's still more. It's just exhausting a little bit, the travel sometimes, but it's all part of it. And then you do a bunch of shows, and then you have a day off, and you catch up on sleep, and sometimes you just sleep wherever you can, in the van or the plane, or you take a nap in the middle of the day, just catch up. But it's all worth it. I mean, it's like, I think it's nothing to complain about, compared to what most people do for a living, and a lot of people, they work hard jobs and it's not really rewarding. And even though that aspect of my work might be a little difficult, I'm so rewarded, but with the amazing, energy that I receive, and all the love and support, from everybody everywhere. So,
Mike, let's talk about the message in your music that I think it's super important, and it's so positive, a message. Maybe all your songs, you're saying always something to the listener.
Yeah, well, I think that, that is what reggae makes reggae music so great, is it is a message music, and it's based around messages of positivity, messages of spirituality, messages of revolution. And it is not, it's not a light and fluffy music. It's heavy, it's to the point, it carries weight, it has strength, it has power, it has spirituality, it has love, it has revolution, it has, sometimes anger, sometimes a fighting spirit, and it's really about thinking for yourself, and so I think that's what attracted me to it, and that delusion of I guess dissemination of the illusion that is constantly surrounding us, and reggae music seeks to wake people up. So I think that's the message that I always try and convey and come across with. It's one of togetherness, of love, of unity, but also awakening, because the whole thing about the system that we live in is that it is seeking to divide us, and not only with aggression and cultural division, class division, political division, so many forms of division, and it's all truly an illusion, because all of these things that they try to use to divide us, like for example, our skin. Well, we're only just spirits inhabiting these just containers for our souls for a short time, and so and we don't choose what color our skin is when we wake up in this life, and that's the truth of it. And so to use something like that to divide us, it's an illusion. And so things like that, we try to sing about things like that, and awaken people to that idea, that to remind them, yeah, we're all connected. We come from a great spirit. We've always been connected. We will always be connected, and there's nothing that can break that connection. It's only an illusion that makes us think that we're not connected.
Yes, I am de acuerdo. So I was thinking, I have un lapsus. I was thinking about this conscious music that you make with message, and what do you think about the music that sells a lot, like reggaeton, going down, moving your ass, like that music? What do you feel about we all dance that music when we go out, but the message is like so contrasting with the reggae message.
Yeah, well, I think my personal reflection on it is that everything in this world has its place. And if people are listening to that music, there's a reason. People are making it because people are listening to it. If nobody was listening to it, then nobody would be making it. It's definitely, I think, a form of mind control, just like all entertainment, all forms of entertainment, video games and movies and TV and music. A lot of it is used to control people, to consume their minds and keep them from thinking about something more dimensional or learning something. But there's also positivity in it. It's great to celebrate. It's great to dance. It's great to just let loose and let it all go. So I don't know. I just try my best not to judge, because I think we're all just human beings having an experience, right? And we're experiencing things on all different levels. And some people, maybe somebody that's super enlightened would not be at all interested in this conversation, because they're like listening to it and I know all that already, and somebody that's not even interested in spirituality, that's on a very in a very new level of their spiritual journey, in a very new place, and not necessarily even thinking about our spiritual connection to everything, and the connection of love and unconditional love and all of these things that we're attracted to, they wouldn't be interested in listening to it either. And there are people in this world at all different levels of spiritual evolution, and we're attracted to what we're attracted to because we are on that part of our spiritual journey, and we're seeking knowledge, we're seeking growth, and I think even that person that's shaking their ass in the club and that's all they care about is still moving towards a spiritual enlightenment, because all these things we have to experience at some point or another. You have to experience being sexually promiscuous to realize that that's like a very I think it's kind of a low vibrational kind of carnal instinct that we can rise to a higher level and realize that like that kind of relationship is really a deep and spiritual connection. And you don't have to just give it all away to find value in yourself, right? But and again, no judgment for anybody that's doing that. I think it's just a learning experience, and I don't know everything, but I just know I'm learning what I'm learning in this life, and that's my journey. And if my spiritual evolution or what I've learned that I'm singing about it's put into my songs, if it can help you, then great. I have no expectations for it to do so. I'm just doing it because that's what I'm given. Like those songs that I sing, they're songs that I was given, that I opened my spirit up to and received to learn something about myself. And so when I first sing those songs, I'm having this experience like, wow, this is amazing. This is something I need to know. And I'm like hearing that song for the first time. It's not coming from inside of me. It's just coming through me, like I said. So, if that experience that I had, if you can hear that and take it and make it something for yourself, and it means something to you, it's like in the song, I'm gonna make it, and I say, take it and make it your own song, it's like, that's what I think it is. It's all different people hearing these songs and saying, that's what I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear for my experience. But our experience is not the same. It's different, but the music is universal. so you can apply it to your own life.
So I listen a lot and I love the message. I have to confess, I eat meat. And I also sing your song about killing animals. I don't remember the name of the song. And it made me feel a little guilty about here in Argentina. We are a lot eating meat. It's like a cow country. But I love the message of the song, and it affects me positively, I think. But I confess, I did not let. I'm still eating meat.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, like I said, it's no judgment. We're all on our journey, and for me, that's my own personal journey. Is my reason for being vegan is I don't want to cause harm. I feel like if I can make change, if I made this change many years ago, and if I can make a change that helps the planet, helps to end suffering, then great. It's great. And there's there's a lot of ways I think that I contribute to suffering of just by buying a pair of Nikes or something, you know what I mean? You're contributing to people suffering in China, or it's basically impossible to avoid in this world because the system is designed to create suffering. But if you can do these things, if you can go vegan, it's great. It helps the earth, it helps the animals, but it's your own decision, and I think like a song like that, for me, it's a pretty harsh message, right? The blood is on your hands. If you make that if you make that choice, the blood is on your hands. It's the truth, and I think that's what that was the connection I wanted to make, is that many people have a disconnect when they go to the store and they buy a steak and they buy a hamburger. They don't really think about the animal, and they're not ready or willing to go to the slaughterhouse and cut the animal and bleed it out and strip the skin and pull out all the guts and and hear the cries when it's happening. And they're not willing to do that. Like, would you be willing to go and do that to be able to just eat a steak? Probably not. But so there's a major disconnect there. So that was part of why I wanted to write the message of the song. But it's music, so it's different than just going and go. Like, if I were to come up on the street and be like, the blood is on your hands, you're a murderer, I would never do that, but it's my way of putting that message out there in a way that people, in a beautiful way that people can consume it and internalize it, like yourself.
I encounter myself in the car singing, the blood is on your hands, and it's in my hands. So it's like weird.
Yeah, it is weird, but maybe it's planting a seed, and maybe for you, since you are making that connection, like maybe you're not, you're not ready to make that change yet. And again, like I said, no judgment, but it's a seed that's planted, right? And you said, well, yeah, I feel guilty about it. Well, that's your own. If you feel guilt about it, that's your own. Yeah, well, that's your own, that's your own internal struggle, right? My intention is not to make you feel guilty, but if that's what you feel, then that's up to you. And if you do feel that, then it must be the truth, right? So, maybe a year from now or 10 years from now, you make that change, and then I feel like, great, I made a positive change. Yeah. But if not, that's that's your choice. It's your journey, and you have to make that choice for yourself.
Mike, so you're vegan. What's travel make you been traveling a lot in the world, and I think you're eating like pizza or something like that because it's complicated. I think in South America more than in Europe or United States being vegan.
I don't know. It's, I will say, man, it's easier, way easier now than ever. And even when I started touring, it's been such a big change, even in the last 5 years. If you go like just on this, like
The middle of the city, you have possibilities here.
yeah, here in Buenos Aires, great. There's probably within 5 or 10 minutes walk, there's probably 10 different vegan restaurants I saw. And, I went to one last night. It was really good. It was only 3 minutes walk from my hotel. And it's not always easy, but it's not hard. I mean, there's always, fruit, there's always vegetables, there's always, nuts. And that's really like the best way to eat, honestly, is just to eat whole raw foods. So if you get in a hard place, you just, you go eat a mango, eat some bananas, eat some nuts, eat some, get some hummus and some carrots. And, it's like, it's easy if you want it. I think you just have to want it. And it's like, there's always obstacles to anything. But, I find it easy. I've never had a problem. And said that too. They said, oh, you're going to South America, you'll never be able to find food there. You'll never be able to be a vegan in Brazil. Well, I said, I could eat, you could find acai any time of the day. In the middle of the night, you could find somebody selling acai. I eat acai every day in Brazil. The best.
I was thinking about music and business music. What do you think about? Do you have a conflict between the making your music that have a message like out of Babylon?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be kind of a conflict because, I'm existing within Babylon. We all are, and we all are, in a certain way, slaves to the system. And I mean, last year I moved to Washington State. We moved out of Hawaii and we moved to a place way out in the country. And, we have our own water supply and we have land to grow food. And, I'm planting a lot of fruit trees. I built a greenhouse and gardens and everything. But it's like a full-time job if you're going to try and provide food for yourself, for your family. It's a full-time job. It's a intense amount of work, and it takes years of building an infrastructure in a place to be able to do that. And it takes a lot of like tools and knowledge and so trying to get out of the system, get out of Babylon is like it's incredibly difficult. And if I really wanted to do it, like I wouldn't be able to tour anymore. I mean, flying in a plane is part of the Babylon system. Driving in a car, existing, paying taxes, and yeah. I don't think I'm responsible for waking up the whole world, but maybe just to inspire other people to do their part and help to wake up their community or their family or their, group of friends. It's just I feel like it ripples out, and there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work in this world, and hopefully if we all work together, we all, wake up the whole world, hopefully.
Mike, thank you very much. I have only one question more. What can you tell me about your ring in your nose?
That's an interesting question. Well, it's funny. I've had people comment like, "Oh yeah, Joe, you shouldn't do that. It's ugly," or like Rasta doesn't do that, or it's like, I'll say, it's my business. It's my business. It's my nose. Exactly. It's just something that I wanted when I was a teenager. I wanted to do it, you know. I always wanted this, exactly. And my parents said no. And I always thought about doing it, and then for a while I didn't want to, and then recent years I was thinking about doing it again, you know. And I thought about it for a while, and I just decided to do it because I like it, you know. Yeah, it's just for me, you know. And if anybody doesn't like it, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, it's all, it should be your own choice to do what you want with your appearance. You know, that's what being a dread is all about. It's like, just, this is me. It's, you know, this is natural. It's my
Much years of dreads.
26 years since I cut my hair. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. So let's see the show tonight in Niceto.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure. Gracias, Pela. Nos vemos en Niceto con Mike Love.
Hay reggae music en el aire. Pelagatos.